So let's talk lady issues and PCOS relating to keto. Hey folks, my name's Allie and let's get started. So just a fair warning, this is about ladies' issues body-wise relating to keto. So if you're a guy and you don't want to hear about that, this might not be the video for you. Although I don't think it's a big deal why we feel like ladies' bodies are gross all the time, but whatever. That's a different video. So what is PCOS? Well, it stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, and about up to 20% of women ages 18 to 44 in the US have it. It's characterized by these cysts, and they're not really cysts. They are follicles that didn't develop, and so they kind of stayed on the ovary, and so that's why it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. Sometimes it can be caused by genetics, but most of the time it's caused by obesity and insulin resistance because those two factors greatly influence our hormones. So one of the biggest symptoms of PCOS is to have an abnormal period, whether it happens too much or too little. Also, another symptom is hirsutism, where you have hair growth in places that women don't usually have it, and that's because of the androgens that they have in their hormone system going on. So they have these male hormones that are affecting them, and so they get this male patterned hair growth. Also, they might experience male pattern balding, insulin resistance, infertility, as well as the ovarian cysts. Now, because it's called PCOS, you might think that the syndrome is caused by the cysts on the ovaries, but it's not. The cysts on the ovaries, or the undeveloped follicles, are actually a symptom of the hormonal issues that are going on. So some effects that PCOS can have on individuals is endometrial cancer, depression, infertility, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, miscarriage, sleep apnea, and black patches on the skin, also known as acanthosis nigricans, I believe it's called. So PCOS is pretty prevalent in America, and I know it can cause a lot of women issues emotionally and physically. For me, it was more of an emotional thing. I never tried to have a kid, so I didn't have to deal with any of like the more harsher realities of it, but it definitely affected me emotionally wise because it affected my periods. And, that's just something that you kind of think like, oh, womanhood is that sisterhood. And, we all experience this thing and it happens to us. And, we're looked down upon in society for it. It's kind of like this thing that you expect to happen once you reach a certain age or development as a lady. And so something that messes that up can really affect you emotionally. I was diagnosed with it when I was in high school. I just went to my doctor and I told her my symptoms. And usually doctors won't do an ultrasound. They ask you 3 questions. And if you get 2 of them that you say yes to, then they tell you that you probably have PCOS, and then they'll go from there. So the 3 things that they look for are whether your periods are irregular, whether you have signs of androgen hormones in your body, and whether they might just take an ultrasound just to check. So if you meet 2 of those 3 things, then they will say that you probably have PCOS. For me, I did have irregular periods, and I did have some signs of androgen hormones. I had acne along my chin here. And so the doctor told me that I was probably going to have to deal with PCOS. So ever since I hit womanhood, periods were long. They happened for a longer length of time, maybe about 2 weeks, but they happened very infrequently. I maybe only got them 3 or 4 times a year. So for me, they were definitely irregular. It's called amenorrhea. It's just when you don't have a lot of periods and they're just not there. So when I was diagnosed, the doctor prescribed me birth control just to kind of regulate it and make it more normal so that I could keep track of it. And also to a diuretic, which was supposed to help with that androgen hormone issue that was going on in my body, to try and clear up some of those issues too. And let me just say, I took those medications for maybe 4 or 5 months and I hated it. It was too much to deal with. They made me feel really crappy. They messed things up. It seemed like, I didn't have an issue with not having the period, every month. It didn't bother me. It was fine, physically. But then, I don't know, something with that birth control really messed things up. And so I was in my freshman year of college when I started taking the medication. And so it wasn't a good time for me to go through this body change. And so for me, I just stopped taking them and went back to, dealing with the infrequentness of my periods. And so not actually having the period didn't affect me. It was not feeling like I was feminine because, all my female friends, they got them regularly. And, you know, they could all plan their periods and everything. And I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen, when mine's going to come. Who knows? It could be a month. It could be 4 months. I don't know. And, you know, they all had symptoms of PMS, you know, and they got to talk about it. And I know it's not something to be like, I wish I had PMS, but it's just, you feel like something's wrong with you. You feel like you're worried about something because something's definitely wrong with your body, right? It's not functioning correctly, but you also feel like you're kind of left out of like the feminine sphere. At least I did. That was my emotional experience with it. So everything had been irregular up until I started keto. So I did keto for a year. I'm on my 3rd year now. But after the very first year of keto, actually right around my first like anniversary of being on keto, my first period, let's just explain it as being only Moses, with the help of Jesus, should have been able to get through it, right? I don't know how I did, but okay, so something happened, okay, and keto just, all of the periods that had been held back just decided to, you know, just come on out. So this is weird talking about on the internet, by the way, but you know, you guys wanted to hear it, so I'm here sharing my experiences. Not that it's gross. This is biology. This is the human body. So we're talking about it. So it was bad. Like, I moved back down south, and I just remember like going grocery shopping once I moved back down. And for about 6 months there, it was bad. And I'd just be in the grocery store and I would feel so faint. Like, I was like, I had lost a lot of volume, okay, and so of blood, and so I was like, had these cold sweats walking around Walmart, and I felt faint and weak, and that was happening for like the first 3 or 4 days. And you know, I had to go to like the bathroom like every 2 hours, and I was using like the most absorbent things I could find, right, to help me out, but like every 2 hours for those first 3 or 4 days, like I needed to be on my feet. I couldn't just be like going to a movie theater or, you know, going out to a long dinner. Like I had to be prepared all the time for like the first 3 or 4 days for those 6 months when things went a little crazy. And so I figured this is just my body correcting all the years worth of things that had been held back. So things started getting bad a year in, and then 6 months after things got bad, they started to slow down a bit. Became a lot more manageable. And then some things switched. I just started realizing that, hey, this is happening every month now. It used to not happen but once every 4 months. And now I'm getting my period like a normal person. It wasn't every month. It kind of like, you know, it came incrementally, slowly. So it might have been like after every 35 days and then after every 30 days. And now it's pretty regular. So I think my body has just been able to regulate itself. My hormones should be in check. You know, I'm not eating so many carbs, so that's helping with the insulin resistance, and you know, the obesity. I'm not obese anymore, so that's definitely helping the situation there. So it's just, my body needed like this year to kind of straighten it out. Like the beginning of that year, things were crazy, but it did take about a year for things to finally actually normalize. And so now, like, I'm in the sisterhood of PMS, okay? Like, I have some PMS symptoms that actually let me know, like, oh crap, I should probably go to the store and CVS and like get some sanitary things. Yeah, and so the other symptoms of PCOS kind of went away too. Like my acanthosis nigricans, the black patches on my skin, right, on my neck and my toes and my underarms, that's gone. And also the acne that I have here, or I had here, is gone too. Yeah, definitely getting my weight under control and getting my insulin resistance and keeping my carb count low and getting those things under control too definitely helped. And so now I'm part of the lady team. I was always part of the lady team, but now I like feel like I'm part of the lady team. And so it's a weight off the shoulders, because I feel like my body's working the way it's supposed to be working, finally, for once in my entire life. You know, ever since I was in 5th grade, it was never right. So now it's finally right. And that's my experience with PCOS and keto. It's pretty much non-existent. I don't even think about it anymore. I haven't asked my doctor anything about it. Things have just kind of normalized after that. But yeah, those first few months were a little rough, a little lightheaded, a little dizzy walking around. So if you have any questions relating to PCOS, I'm not sure if I could answer them. I mean, those are just the things that I had to experience. Like I said, I didn't have to deal with any of the infertility issues just because I wasn't trying to have a kid. And we'll see how that goes maybe in the future one day. I don't know. But yeah, so if you have a question or a comment relating to PCOS or keto, leave me a comment down below. And I really do try and look through all those and get to the ones that I feel like I could answer best. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to find me on Instagram, my name is Keto_Ally. On Instagram, I post what I'm eating and like what's going on in my daily life most of the time. Also, I have a blog. It's AllyMcWowie.com where I'm posting my recipes. And you can find me on Facebook as well. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Ally. Have a good one. Bye. It was like I was donating blood, you know, a pint of blood every month. Oh, I know. People don't want to hear that. Oh, well.